everybody. Thanks for coming out. We're here today to honor Dixie, one of Harriman's most famous daughters, Dixie Lee, who went on to become a movie star. Dixie Lee, as you may know, was born in Harriman in 1911. At the time, Harriman was still a very kind of a young city, only 20 years old. It was built as a utopia of temperance. Panic of 1893 had kind of killed that dream, but it had recovered. From 1910 to 1920, it saw substantial population growth. The city grew from about a little under 3,500 to about 4,000 people. It was a bustling city at the time. Had over 20 passenger trains stop here every day. Had a vibrant economy built on, which was starting to be built on manufacturing. Harriman Hosiery Mill was been established in 1912 when Dixie Lee was just a year old. Of course, that would later go on to become Burlington. It would be sort of one of the pillars of the economy for over 70 years. The city also had a bottling company which bottled Gayola Cola. Anybody ever heard of that? Probably not. It's long, long gone. T.C. Farnham's had a store here on Roane Street. Chase Drugs existed then all the way back to 1891, Manufacturers National Bank. The university here in Harriman had just closed at the time of her birth, but it had been replaced by the Moody School, which would go on until about 1914. Libraries would have been here when she was young in its current location, built in 1909. Probably of most interest to Dixie Lee would have been the new Edisonian Theater, which was on the 500 block of Walden Street, which operated in the 1910s and 20s, one of the first theaters in the area. 1908, it actually, the owners got in trouble and had to issue an apology for showing an offensive film. Who knows what that was about. Another sort of dramatic event that she may or may not have seen would have been the Red Patch Chautauqua, which came here in the 1910s and 20s. Some famous people came and spoke here. Jeanette Rankin, for instance, who was the first woman elected to Congress, and Ruth Bryan Owen, who was the daughter of William Jennings Bryan. Of course, she was gone from here before this theater was established, the Princess, in 1926. She left here in about 1915, so she would have missed out on the parade, the huge parade which happened down Roane Street when we entered into World War I, and she would have experienced it somewhere else, but Spanish influenza of 1918, when so many people died and there were enough, the funeral homes could accommodate all the bodies here. But on that note, I would like to introduce Blake Rice Kirkland, an amateur historian, lifelong resident of Harriman, and an actor. So,
thank you all for coming out today. I'd like to read part of the letter that Dixie had wrote home to Harriman just before her death. Someday I'm coming back to the beautiful hills and streams of Tennessee, which will always be home to me. Today we'd like to welcome Dixie home. As John said, she was born in Harriman in 1911 in the Walnut Hill area of Harriman. She lived here until, as he said, until 1915, and then moved to Knoxville, and then later on to Memphis and New Orleans, and then she started her career in Chicago, where she won a blues contest. After she did that, they went on to New York, where she was in several Broadway plays, and then Fox Studios signed her to come to LA, and that's when her movie career started. At the time of her movie career, she was a bigger star than her future husband, Dean Crosby. Upon their marriage is when her acting career kind of settled down, and she went on to raise 4 children up until her death at the age of 40 in 1952. I feel that Dixie is important to Harriman, not for any one thing that she did in particular for the city, but I feel that by learning about her life, that it will inspire others to inspire for their careers, go for their goals, and maybe even reach for the stars. I'd like to now present the sketch of Dixie Lee, the Roane State, and the Harriman Princess Theater, and Mr. Weber. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate again all of you being here for this ceremony this morning. Thank you, John, for your words, and Blake for your kind contribution that will be a lasting tribute to a life that is very important to Harriman, and yet I fear for generations, my children and others that may not know her as well as they should. And this will certainly inspire, I think, them to get to know her a little bit better and reflect upon the important history of those who came before us here in Harriman, Tennessee. So we thank you again for your time this morning. We invite you to come and look at the donation. This is a wonderful tribute again to Dixie. And also John will have books that he will be signing out front. So thank you for being here this morning, and we'll be dismissed.